home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Mark your calendars for the 11th Annual Family Fun Night at West Bloomfield High School. Stop by on Friday, September 16th at 5 p.m. for an evening of free, fun activities as we honor our military, police, and fire heroes. Plus, stick around to see Laker football take on Clarkston at 7 p.m. To find out more, scan the QR code on your screen or visit wbsd.org/community/family fun night.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Fire Prevention Week is just around the corner. Join volunteer, part-time, and on-call firefighters at this year's Fire Open House. Catch up on your fire safety knowledge with live demonstrations and hands-on activities. Chat with local businesses and resources about fire prevention, see some familiar faces, fight future fires, and make some new friends. The West Bloomfield Fire Open House, October 2nd from noon to 3 p.m. at Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road.
You're listening to your radio homes for the Megacast, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Today's Megacast begins now. Welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keith, welcoming you to our live, local, 5 days a week look into all things Michigan. Today, we'll be talking to a whole host of people about fun and interesting stuff and important news stories making headlines right here in Michigan. Let's get into today's headlines on our website at civiccentertv.com on our local news page. Our top story today comes from Ben Orner at MLive. On Thursday, the Michigan Supreme Court ruled in a 5-2 ruling in favor of sending the controversial abortion ballot initiative to the polls this November, just a day shy of today, a deadline which would have seen this proposal off the ballot following a 2-2 deadlock decision recently, the state's Board of Canvassers. This comes after news yesterday that the Court of Claims Judge Elizabeth Gleicher had ruled that the precedential 1931 law banning abortion in the state of Michigan was unconstitutional. Of course, that would have become the law of the land here in the Great Lakes state following the repeal of Roe versus Wade in another case at the Supreme Court level federally, which changed the rules on the federal level of abortions, and therefore, by the Constitution, by the Bill of Rights, sent that law to be decided on by each state in those states. While the state legislature, led in both chambers by Republicans and whom generally are pro-life, could pass a new law, the public would supersede any future legislation on this matter, such as a new ban to counter the loss of the 1931 banishment, should they vote yes on what will now be Proposal 3 in November. Clerks will finalize local ballots today, and absentee ballots will begin to be sent out to international citizens and the military later on this month. Also making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com on our local news page. From Chandra Fleming at the Detroit Free Press, mosquitoes in Macomb County have been detected to be carrying the West Nile virus for the first time this summer season. While no human cases have yet to be confirmed, local health officials are urging residents and visitors to take precautions in order to avoid mosquito bites. Among the list of precautions are use an insect repellent that contains DEET or picaridin in clothing and on exposed skin. Mosquitoes are most active from dusk to dawn, so residents should limit outdoor activities and wear long pants and long sleeves, along with using those DEET containing or picaridin containing repellents during those hours. Avoid areas of standing water such as buckets, flower pots, barrels, and children's pools. Those should also be kept empty when not in use to prevent mosquitoes from laying their eggs. Change the water regularly in pet dishes that are outside, as well as bird baths, and keep your gutters free of standing water. Windows and door screens should be kept in good repair to prevent mosquitoes from entering the home and other buildings. For more information and helpful tips, you can visit the Macomb County Health Department's website, which is linked at the bottom of this article on our local news page. Finally, making headlines today from Karen Buford at the Detroit News on our local news page. Henry Ford Health has named longtime executive Robert Riney as its new president and CEO. The now former chief operating officer of Henry Ford Health takes over for Wright Lassiter III, who departed this summer for another health system in the Chicago area. Riney has been serving as the acting CEO since Lassiter's departure in July and will take reins officially as the corporate leader of the $6.6 billion health system. In a statement, Riney reflected on his new official role by saying, quote, "Henry Ford is home to incredible innovation, cutting-edge science, and an unwavering commitment to our colleagues and to the communities that we serve. It's a place where, despite even the most daunting of challenges, making the impossible possible happens every day. I'm energized and excited to lead this special organization. I look forward to Team Henry Ford continuing to innovate, excel, and grow in serving our patients, members, communities, and each other." All those headlines are making news today on CivicCenterTV.com on our local news page, as well as those ever helpful links to accurate and up-to-date information on COVID-19 from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great program ahead on this Friday edition of the Megacast. Up next, spooky fun, a sports book, and more is coming to the Imagine theaters in your local area. CEO Anthony Laverde joins us next on the Megacast.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Mark your calendars for the 11th annual Family Fun Night at West Bloomfield High School. Stop by on Friday, September 16th at 5 p.m. for an evening of free, fun activities as we honor our military, police, and fire heroes. Plus, stick around to see Laker football take on Clarkston at 7 p.m. To find out more, scan the QR code on your screen or visit wbsd.org/community/Family Fun Night.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily 1-hour show about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. You can learn more about our TV, radio, and streaming program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on all of our partnering stations on the network across the state of Michigan, including My Michigan TV, streaming live on mymytv.com, as well as on their free My Michigan TV apps for your smartphones and your smart TVs. One of our local area's favorite movie-going experiences can be found at the Imagine Theaters in the Metro Detroit area. Lots of new fun and interest is coming very soon, and in some cases is already in many of those theaters. CEO Anthony Laverde joins us now to talk about that and more on the Megacast. Anthony, thanks for being with us today.
Tyler, thanks for having me. Delighted to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you on with us and talk about some of these exciting new experiences that are coming to Imagine's theaters in the Detroit area. Among them is one that's already ongoing, as you just opened Caesars Sportsbook Lounge in August in your downtown Royal Oak location. What about Caesars Sportsbook, or just the sportsbook experience, made that a good fit for Imagine Theater to add, particularly to this downtown Royal Oak location?
Yeah, so throughout the COVID pandemic, we were shut down. So we had envisioned this idea pre-COVID, and with the advent of online gambling and becoming legalized in the state, we just thought, what better place to watch a sporting event than one of our terrific venues? So we converted a theater in Royal Oak, heated recliners, tables, 42 feet of LED screens. And we partnered with Caesars. They're, two terrific brands, well respected in their industries, and it was just a natural fit. And we're super excited to be working with such a great organization as Caesars.
In the recovery from, particularly on the economic side, the COVID-19 pandemic, do you believe that this is going to be that these sort of additive experiences to the movie-going experience that's provided by Imagine Theaters and other theater companies that have businesses here in the Detroit area and really throughout the U.S. Do you believe that these new experiences being added into the fold is going to become more commonplace in the next couple of years as movie theaters attempt to really bounce back economically from the throes of the pandemic?
That's a great question, and I'll answer it this way. We like to think Imagine is not the same as competitors in the industry. We like to consider ourselves on the forefront of innovation. Give you an example: we were the first in the world with all digital cinema, and I think this is just another step in the direction of Imagine being leaders in the industry and not followers. And we just came off our most profitable month in the history of the company in July. And we certainly plan to offer our guests an array of options to have congregative, fun experiences in our facilities. And the sports lounge is just one of them. We announced a haunted house in Birmingham, which I'm super excited about. And there's more to come.
Yeah, that experience is going to be October 1st through the 31st at the Birmingham 8 in downtown Birmingham. And let's talk about that. You've partnered with Blue Water to create Ghosts on the Balcony. It's a haunted theater attraction. What is that experience going to be like? What can people expect when they go to Imagine Theaters in October, particularly to the Birmingham 8 in October, to experience some spooky fun at the movie theater?
Yeah, I for the folks that are from the Detroit metro area, know about the Birmingham Theater, its history, how long it's been there. And it to me, it's the perfect venue for creating a haunted attraction. Folks will spend roughly an hour walking through the theaters. In some areas of the theaters they've never been to, some of the crawl spaces and so on. And we have lots of unique experiences and scares that you'll be experiencing. And we're just super excited. Blue Water is just a wonderful organization to work with. And we think, again, folks will will experience a haunted house in the Imagine standards, and how we plan to bring in some technology also to innovate the experience of a haunted house. So we're really excited about the opportunity.
And just adds again, Anthony, to these new experiences that are coming into Imagine theaters to, of course, not replace the movie-going experience, but add to it and give people really an opportunity to go see a movie and then have some additional fun in one location. What about that element was important for you as the CEO and for really your entire team at the business level at Imagine to put these innovations in place and really try to keep people in these theaters for extended experiences beyond the 90 minutes to 3 hours they might be sitting through a movie?
Yeah, it's a great question, Tyler. I think my job as a CEO is to look ahead, not behind. And with the advent of streaming and so on, you've been hearing about the death of the movie theater, and it's just not the case. They've been saying the death of the theater since television's been invented. But with that being said, we have these beautiful facilities. We have, I would say, extra space to utilize them in unique ways. And it's really all about putting more folks through the building that maybe haven't been back to the theaters post-COVID just yet, and realize how beautiful and clean and innovative our facilities are, whether it's heated recliners to full bars, to lounges, to sports bars, to haunted house, to live music. We're always going to be innovative and trying new things. And that's what Imagine's been about since its inception.
We're joined by Anthony Laverde. He is the CEO of Imagine Theaters, joining us on today's edition of the Megacast, adding to some of those experiences you mentioned. Of course, the sportsbook experience in your downtown Royal Oak location, the soon-to-be haunted theater experience at the Birmingham 8 this October. There's also going to be a really one-of-a-kind new experience that is in a medium that's been on the rise over the past several years, and that's augmented reality, or AR. You're partnering with Screen Vision Media and Strax Networks to create interactive augmented reality, or AR, experiences for moviegoers in select Michigan Imagine theaters. Can you tell us about that program, and what are some of these augmented reality experiences people are going to be able to have at some of your theaters?
So, it's really all about finding new ways to connect with our guests. And, for years it's been scan QR codes. And we've done that in the past, and we think there's some interesting technology with QR codes. But spending time with the folks at Strax and Screen Vision, we really worked hard on how do we make the Imagine logo, the Imagine brand, live outside of the theater. And the concept is pretty simple. You take your phone, you download the Strax app, and you scan the Imagine logo, or our popcorn tub, or our drink cup, and it lives on forever. We can deliver messages to all of our guests simply by scanning our logo. And what you'll find is we're able to deliver very unique experiences to you that way. Let's say the new Black Panther film is coming out, and we want to give you access early to buy the best seats that are available. We can deliver that message onto our logo. You can scan it, and you might scan it every Monday, every Tuesday, and you never know what you might find by scanning. We can send you free merchandise. We could send you tickets. In the case of our joint venture with Caesars, when you download the Caesars app and use the Imagine sign-up code, you never know what's going to be delivered to you. In some cases, we'll bring you free food. In other cases, we'll bring you merchandise. So it's really a unique way to connect with our guests, and it doesn't necessarily require you to be in our building. You can be driving by Imagine and scan the Imagine logo that's literally on the side of our building, and you might receive a really cool prize pack. It keeps you engaged with our brand, and it's a great way for us to connect and keep you informed of the new things we're doing here at Imagine.
We're joined by Anthony Laverde on the Megacast, CEO of Imagine Theaters, with us on today's edition of the program. Again, the Caesars Sportsbook Lounge, powered by Imagine, is now open at their Royal Oak location downtown, and then of course coming up in October at the Birmingham 8. They'll have their haunted theater experience as well. That's October 1st through the 31st at the Birmingham 8 in partnership with Blue Water for Ghosts on the Balcony, and then also beginning October 1st at select Michigan theaters. Of course, those exclusive AR experiences that Anthony just talked about. Just a couple more minutes with you, Anthony. What are some of the other focuses of Imagine Theaters at this time to kind of expand that experience, not only within the theater, but also outside the theater and anything else that's coming up beyond these September and October experiences that you like to tease today?
We're always looking to grow. We're always looking for opportunities. We're the 9th largest operator in North America now, and I hope to continue to grow. But we certainly will continue to innovate and deliver unique experiences that our guests, one, expect and two, ask for. So we're always listening to our guests. They come first, and anything they're interested in, we're interested in, and we'll bring it to them.
Imagine-entertainment.com. That's imagine-entertainment.com for more information. Anthony, appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, Tyler. Always a pleasure being here.
We'll take a short break. When we come back, how now months-long sanctions are affecting the Russian economy, and what does that mean for you right here in Michigan? Oakland University's Michael Greiner joins us next on the Megacast.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Fire Prevention Week is just around the corner. Join volunteer, part-time, and on-call firefighters at this year's Fire Open House. Catch up on your fire safety knowledge with live demonstrations and hands-on activities. Chat with local businesses and resources about fire prevention, see some familiar faces, fight future fires, and make some new friends. The West Bloomfield Fire Open House, October 2nd from noon to 3 p.m. at Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily 1-hour TV, radio, and streaming show about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program by visiting civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. About 6 months ago, at the end of February, Russia invaded Ukraine in an attempt to annex several more parts of the country after years ago annexing Crimea. This now 6+ month invasion and war in Eastern Europe has caused a number of ripple effects in the international community, especially on the economic side, where in the weeks following the initial invasion of Ukraine, several nations across the world, including us here in the United States, imposed significant sanctions on both Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, as well as other oligarchs and the economy proper in Russia. Here, join us now on the Megacast to talk about how those sanctions back then and continued sanctions are impacting the Russian economy, and that impact it has down the line for the world economy, including here in the U.S., is Michael Greiner from Oakland University School of Business Administration. Michael, thanks for joining us today.
Great to be here again. Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah, glad to have you on. This is a really interesting topic because we heard so much about these sanctions being imposed on Russia and the crippling effect that they were going to have on the Russian economy months ago, and they were first imposed in the weeks following the initial invasion at the beginning of Russia's unjust war with Ukraine. That being said, now here we are 6-7 months later, following both that invasion and the sanctions that came after it, and we are seeing that the effects of those sanctions on the Russian economy are having some effects on the world economy, including here in the U.S. Give us a brief summary to begin on what some of those lasting effects have been months later, nearly over half a year since those sanctions were imposed.
Sure. Well, maybe what I'd like to do, if I could, is start with talking about the impact on Russia, because if anything, Russia's done a really good job of kind of spinning the whole economic situation. There's a report that recently came out from Yale University, and I'm really actually proud of my colleagues for going through this process, where they kind of looked at what Russia was claiming and then wanted to analyze to see the extent to which it was true. Now, Russia has pointed very proudly at the fact that they've been able to essentially sustain the value of the ruble. So rather than it dropping down to 1 cent, it's now valued at 2 cents per ruble. So not exactly like it's an extremely powerful currency, but nevertheless, it's higher than it was when the invasion first happened. And they're very proud of this fact. But that's within the context of the fact that right now, you basically can't trade in rubles. There is no global market for rubles at this point. If you were to be in Russia and you had dollars and you wanted to exchange them for rubles, you could do that easily. On the other hand, if you had rubles and wanted to buy dollars, you would be unable to do that pretty much anywhere in the world at this point. At this point, also defaulted on its foreign debt. This is the first time that they've done so since the Russian Revolution back in 1917. About 1,000 companies, foreign companies, have left Russia, and that accounts for about 40% of Russia's GDP. So we're talking very substantial impact here. Now, inflation has been very high in Russia as a result. Apparently, unemployment is high in Russia. But hey, they've got that ruble still holding up. So they keep pointing that and say, oh, everything's fine. The thing that has been sustaining them, if anything, has been oil, the price of oil. And that's really been the big impact that I think we've seen globally, which is the fact that the price of oil has gone up, as all of us have experienced. It's gone down now for the last couple of months, but obviously starting from the moment the war happened, for the next few months, and even now, it's still higher than it was before the war started. And that's because, of course, Russia is a major supplier of oil and gas. And as a result of that, although we here in the United States aren't necessarily large purchasers of oil and gas from Russia, the prices for those things are set on the global stage. There's a global market for these things. And so less oil and gas coming out of Russia means that the prices are going to go up. It's simple supply and demand. You have less supply, you have higher demand, prices are going to go up. So that's kind of what's been happening there. And that's really been the biggest impact that you've seen. Now, for us here in the United States, it's been, annoying, perhaps. And as I say, the prices dropped down a little bit of oil. We are major suppliers ourselves of both oil and natural gas, and we supply most of our own natural gas anyway. So we really aren't so reliant on Russia. The place this is really hurting, frankly, is in Europe. Where Russia has been very aggressive in essentially turning off the pipes coming into Europe from Russia that deliver the natural gas there. And this has been a big problem for the Europeans who, at the beginning of this war, were importing almost 40% of their natural gas from Europe. And from Russia. And that's particularly true, by the way, in Germany, which I think was importing 55% of its natural gas from Russia. Which is really a shockingly large amount. Well, ever since the invasion happened, Putin, of course, has been playing games with natural gas, and recently he basically turned off the supply coming in through the largest gas pipeline from Russia into Europe, the Nord Stream pipeline, and as a result, the Europeans have have been hurt by it, and prices have gone up. But what they've been doing really since the invasion happened is that they've worked very hard to supply new sources of gas, and they've been running all over, essentially signing new contracts, developing new sources of supply. And as a result, where at one point Europe was importing about 40% of its natural gas from Russia, now they're importing only about 10%. And so it appears that the Europeans are doing a pretty good job of managing this crisis and making sure that they're going to have sufficient supplies to get them through the winter, which is, of course, the big concern.
Yeah, and for the U.S., that comes into play because some of our most significant allies are some of those European countries. You think about Germany, you think about other countries in neighboring areas that are affected by really the collective European economy. And so for the United States, their course of action is, well, how do we then, if we're not so significantly affected by that, prevent some of our greatest allies from having significant economic turmoil as a result of their now more tumultuous relationship with Russia, although that was already the case. So in the US, we may not be seeing some of those more direct effects like we were in the initial months of the war in Ukraine, particularly at the gas pump. But how could those relations with our international partners in Europe that are affected by this ultimately affect our economy as our leaders play the game of balance between protecting our allies, but not significantly affecting an already imbalanced, let's say, economic situation here in the U.S.?
Well, that's a great question. And the United States is basically committed that we're going to do everything we can to help Europe get through this crisis, as you would imagine. And the problem there, and this is kind of goes both ways here, is that unlike oil, natural gas is most easily shipped through pipelines. It is possible to be shipped through tankers, what they call liquefied natural gas or LNG tankers. But that requires a special kind of terminal to be able to both ship it and to receive it. And there are limited numbers of those terminals around the world, particularly in Europe, because of the fact that, again, they've been relying upon gas coming through these natural gas pipelines from Russia. So they haven't really seen the need to build as many of them. Well, as it turns out now, they've been scrambling. Actually, Germany, if you can believe it, has secured the use of a couple of floating LNG terminals that they're able to use to be able to import liquefied natural gas from the United States and from other parts of the world into Germany. So that's one more way that they've been dealing with it. But this knife kind of cuts both ways too, because at the same time as Russia has these pipelines into Europe and they're able to cut off the supply to Europe, they say, oh, we don't care if Russia cuts us off because we'll just sell our supplies elsewhere. Well, the problem is they don't have pipelines going into India or China, and these countries don't have the liquefied natural gas terminals to receive it. And for that matter, Russia doesn't have the liquefied natural gas terminals to be able to ship it. So it's not like they can just kind of pivot their sales of natural gas from Europe over to Asia the way they are able to do with oil. Now, part of the reason that Russia is so angry about this, of course, is that the United States has been leading an effort under Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen to impose what's called a price cap on Russian oil. And this initially was met by some skepticism by our European allies. But as it turns out, they've actually come around to this idea. And this is, to me, this is a great idea because it addresses a couple problems that we have at once. Number one, it's going to make sure that the price of oil doesn't rise too much by essentially not allowing Russia to benefit from the global increase in oil, and basically saying we're not going to pay any more than this amount for Russian oil, and that's it. And as a result of that, that's going to essentially put a cap on how much they're able to charge for gas. So that benefits us as the consumers. It also hurts Russia because of the fact that they aren't able to essentially make this windfall off of the oil that they're supplying to the rest of the world. Now, as it turns out, unlike in the Middle East, where they're able to drill oil very cheaply, drilling oil in Russia is actually quite expensive. So if the price cap is lower to a certain level, then Russia will be in a position where they're really not making very much money off of selling oil. So you might say, oh, well, how are you going to enforce that? Well, as it turns out, in the West, we have the ability to enforce that because the ships that carry the oil from one country to the next are insured by insurance companies based here in the West. And so we're able to say to those insurance companies, hey, you cannot insure ships if they are carrying Russian oil that's priced above a certain level. And so that appears to be the enforcement mechanism. And then Russia says, oh, well, we'll just ship it to China and India. Well, as it turns out, China and India, they're already buying Russian gas at a huge discount because they're like, hey, if you're so desperate to sell it to us, we're going to pay less money for it. So as a result, it's really wreaked havoc on Russia's ability to gain so much money from the oil that they've been able to sell. But I think that this gas cap, this oil price cap, could potentially be the biggest tool that we in the West are using, both to kind of keep our allies together, to be able to keep the oil prices in check, while also to be able to essentially control the amount of money that Russia is able to make off of this crisis they've created.
We're joined by Michael Greiner from Oakland University School of Business Administration on today's edition of the Megacast. More information on their programs in the School of Business Administration can be found at oakland.edu. That's oakland.edu for more information. Michael, a couple more minutes with you today. Before we let you go, just overall, how will this continued situation, especially these price caps, ultimately come back and affect our economy here in the U.S.? And in particular, how could it affect consumers here in the state of Michigan?
Well, the big question, I think you're right. The global economy at this point is very integrated. So when there are problems in Europe, it's going to affect us here in the United States. I mean, some of our largest trading partners are in Europe. Similarly, the problems that China is going through right now are going to affect our economy as well. So we're integrated in the entire world. I think, frankly, the United States is very well positioned to deal with this crisis because of the fact that we are a major supplier of energy here in the world. We are able to essentially supply our own energy needs here. Is it possible that we could see an increase in gas prices and other energy prices going forward? I think that's probably likely as we go through the winter. But I don't think we'll see anything like what we're seeing in Europe. And in fact, in Europe, they're talking about imposing essentially a cap on the price of gas. And basically what they're going to do is that they're going to tax the gas companies, the energy companies, what's called a windfall tax for the extra money that they're making, and use that money essentially to subsidize consumers who are buying gas so that they're able to get through the winter without basically being bankrupted by higher energy costs, because that's really the crisis here. It comes down to a supply and demand situation. Supply is down, demand is higher in the winter, obviously, as people need to heat their homes and, there's a higher call for electricity. And as a result of that, there's certainly a potential for prices to go up. And I think that's the biggest area where we could see it here in the United States. But again, I think that the impact on us is going to be relatively limited compared to what we're going to see in Europe. And that has really geopolitical implications, though, because for this economic war against Russia to succeed, we really need our alliance to stick together. And it's going to become very hard for the Europeans as they go through this winter to stick together as they're dealing with really some hardship as a result of these shortages that they're going to be dealing with gas. And as a result of that, I think that there's going to be a real effort on the part of the United States to try to really support our European allies and make sure that they're able to get through this winter. Because if they are, I think that Russia is really going to find itself in a position that it really has very few options left in its war.
It'll be interesting to see how this continues to develop, those relations in particular between Russia and their immediate neighbors in Eastern Europe and in Western Europe as well, and how that affects our economy here in the U.S. and in particular in Michigan. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oakland.edu for more information on programs in their School of Business Administration. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your family.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Mark your calendars for the 11th annual Family Fun Night at West Bloomfield High School. Stop by on Friday, September 16th at 5 p.m. for an evening of free, fun activities as we honor our military, police, and fire heroes. Plus, stick around to see Laker football take on Clarkston at 7 p.m. To find out more, scan the QR code on your screen or visit wbsd.org/community/family fun night.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily 1-hour TV, radio, and streaming show about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the program is one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. LaTanya Moore is the founder and CEO of Showers of Grace Michigan and joins us now on today's program. LaTanya, thanks for joining us today.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Good to have you on. I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm good. Good.
First off, can you give us a little bit of background and information on Showers of Grace and its mission and who it serves here in the southeastern Michigan?
Showers of Grace of Michigan. We serve the inner city Detroit area, but we welcome all students from everywhere. We have a live tutoring lab up here, as you can see in my background. We tutor children in Detroit. We got started in 2020 around the pandemic time, but it wasn't Showers of Grace's initial goal to do tutoring. It actually was my goal to do something different, but COVID set in and I felt like all the children were going to be behind in school due to this. So I said, no, we're going to do tutoring and help them along the way with this homeschooling that they're in.
So if I may ask, what was that initial purpose that you imagined for Showers of Grace? And when was that point where you shifted gears to tutoring children in inner city Detroit?
When I first started out with Showers of Grace, it was our initial plan to do aging out kids out of the foster care system. It was to get them set up in housing and kind of put a no-fail system in place for them so that they couldn't fail, because I myself am a foster child. And I aged out at age 17 and I kind of didn't have nowhere to go. So, and no direction. Right now currently I'm a registered nurse, actually. That's my trade. But that was what I wanted to do. That was my real goal, is to help those children when they age out of the foster care system, to have housing, access to school, to trades if they wanted to. And I was going to set them up in a system where they couldn't fail, where they could continue to go to school and get some type of vision. Because when you just age out like that, you don't have no vision. You don't know what you want to do. And it was to kind of really help them get a vision. That was my initial goal. But then COVID set in, and everybody had to do homeschooling and be at home. And it was like, okay, now wait a minute. Now we're going to lose other kids. We're going to lose the kids, period. So it was that's when the goal changed. It's still my goal to do the aging out. That is a big concern of mine. As a matter of fact, I'm partnering with another nonprofit, and that's going to be our next step to do that.
And so what are some of the educational and or tutoring programs that are available through your organization?
We help them find scholarships. We do self-improvement workshops. We have a whole tutoring program set up on our computer system where it gives the kids a test and it allows us to see where they're at. And it sets up a unique learning system for them, catered to just that child, wherever they're behind at. And we do grades. I actually started the fourth grade because I do have a fourth grader in here. We started the fourth graders and we go up to 12th grade.
We're joined by LaTanya Moore from Showers of Grace of Michigan, joining us on today's edition of the Megacast. You can find more information on showersofgrace01.org. That's showersofgrace01.org. And you can also call them 313-466-7933. That's 313-466-7933 and find them on shareddetroit.org. LaTanya, how do kids get involved in these programs, get connected with your organization for tutors and other educational programs?
We actually, I'm on a radio show at 4 o'clock, 88.1. I'm actually on the Kingdom Culture show, and we announce on there. But we also hold, we just did a whole book bag giveaway. We gave away over 400 book bags. We partnered with some other, and we let people know that way. I recently got a bid with the Detroit Public Schools to let it be known that we are out here. We hold a lot of community service things where we go out with the community, ask them what do they want to see, and we let them know we're here.
So you mentioned one of the purposes of your organization, at least initially, and hopefully soon in the future, will be to help kids who are aging out of the foster care system. That being said, going into back into the educational element of what Showers of Grace does in the Detroit community, what is that age range of kids that you are serving throughout their educational life?
We started age 9 to 17, but the aging out would be the ones that's about 17 years old, because I aged out at 17. So at about 17, they age out.
And in terms of the tutors themselves, who is coming into these situations and providing that additional education to these kids?
We have some people that went to school for teaching, but maybe they didn't finish. We welcome stipends. We welcome the ones that's in college. We welcome them to come. That's in college for teaching and they need an intern. We welcome them. We just ask that all of our tutors, our volunteers, they do have to do a background check. And we actually pay for their background check.
So how can they go about if they would like to volunteer with your organization, work with some of these kids in tutoring and other educational initiatives? How can they get in contact with your organization and go about starting that process?
They can also go on our website, showersofgrace01.org, and we have a tutoring volunteer and a tutoring. You can set your kid up you can set up for volunteering or tutoring, to be a tutor right there on our volunteer site. And we also have it on our site where you can sign your kid up for tutoring and someone will give you a call back. We take intake on Mondays also.
And that website for volunteers, showersofgrace01.org/volunteers, showersofgrace01.org/volunteer. You can also call them for more information at 313-466-7933, 313-466-7933 for more information. And in addition to all that, shareddetroit.org. Go to their Find a Nonprofit section and search Showers of Grace to find additional information on a number of different ways that you can help Showers of Grace today and into the future. What are some of those additional ways, LaTanya, that people can help your organization continue to do the work that it's doing and support so many kids in the city of Detroit?
You can also go on our site and become a monthly donor, which I dedicated my show yesterday to thanking our monthly donors and our sponsors. You can go on there and make monthly donations. And we're located at 11,000 West McNichols at the corner of 6 Mile and Myers. You can come up there and actually make donations on there. You can come up there and see what we're all about.
And in terms of the processes right now, you mentioned that this really began as an effort early on in the pandemic. And so some of those in-person opportunities may not have been there then. Nowadays, things are a lot different. In-person opportunities for many organizations and events and different initiatives is much more commonplace now than it was certainly 2 years ago. But are there still virtual options as well for those who would prefer to have their kids participate in these programs virtually from the comfort of their home?
We have our system set up here actually so we haven't gotten it virtually set up to go virtual, but that's an ideal. Thank you so much for that. I'll consider that. And maybe we need to look into doing something virtual.
But that at this time, those tutoring opportunities, they are on site at your location on West McNichols, or are they at a different location?
No, they're on site here at West McNichols.
Okay, and that address again, 11,000 West McNichols, Suite 300 in Detroit. More information on showersofgrace01.org, showersofgrace01.org for more info, or call 313-466-7933 for more info. We're joined by LaTanya Moore. She is the founder and the CEO of Showers of Grace Michigan on today's edition of the Megacast. LaTanya, at this point, in just over 2 years since you established this organization, just how many kids have you been working with? Have you had go through tutoring systems in your organization? And what kind of impact has this organization had in those 2+ years?
Well, I would say that we've worked with so far up to about 26 kids, but a lot of people tell me that they didn't even know we were here, that we are here. But so we've been working on trying to really get ourselves out there. We do have a Facebook page, and we've been trying to get ourselves out there so people know that we are here. We've helped about 26 kids. We hold an event once a month with Painting with a Twist, where kids can come out. A lot of people bring their kids out for that event also. I'm hoping that we're having a greater impact now, that people know, more people are now noticing that we are here.
Again, you can find more information and get involved with their programs, either get your kids in some of these tutoring programs, volunteer and help Showers of Grace of Michigan provide some of these tutoring opportunities and other educational opportunities by going to showersofgrace01.org. That's showersofgrace01.org for more information, as well as information on ways that you can continue to support them going forward. LaTanya, just another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye. Anything else we haven't discussed about Showers of Grace of Michigan that you'd like to say, or that our audience should know about your nonprofit at this time?
Yes, I want to let it know to the parents out here. We also have a program set up where they can come in and learn what their kids are learning, because a lot of parents can't really help their students at home and with their homework and everything. But we also have it set up where you can also come in as parents and learn what your kids are learning, so that you will be able to help them with their homework.
And again, all that information is on showersofgrace01.org. LaTanya, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Again, showersofgrace01.org or sharedetroit.org. You can also call LaTanya and the folks at Showers of Grace of Michigan at 313-466-7933. That is 313-466-7933. That is going to do it for this week's editions of the Megacast. As always, you can keep up to date on the program, find all of our shows on demand, as well as each individual interview, and learn more about organizations like Showers of Grace and news stories that are making headlines here in Michigan, throughout the U.S., and around the world, affecting you in your hometown at civiccentertv.com/megacast. There we have a list of all of our partnering TV, radio, and streaming outlets that join us either live or live to tape on their outlets Monday through Friday here on our program. You can also go to our local news page for up-to-date information on COVID-19 from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division. They update those on the daily, and those links take you directly to their COVID-19 specific web pages, so you don't have to dig through all the weeds, the misinformation, the disinformation about public health info on the internet. Go straight to these sources. They're reliable sources with experts at all levels of government and public health in the U.S. You can also find on our local news page on civiccentertv.com articles making headlines both on the COVID front and more across the Great Lakes state each and every day. civiccentertv.com, click on local news and you'll find those articles. Click through to read them in full. You can read supporting materials and other articles from each of these publications as well. And if you have the means to do so, we highly encourage you to subscribe to those publications and support journalism in your local community. I want to give a big thank you to everybody that joined us on this week's editions of the Megacast, particularly on today's show. Anthony Laverde, the CEO of Imagine Theaters. It's Michael Graner, Assistant Professor of Management in Oakland University's School of Business and Administration. And of course, LaTanya Moore, the founder and the CEO of Showers of Grace, Michigan. Again, all these interviews, civiccentertv.com/Megacast. More programming coming up all throughout the day here on our flagship and across our network. Coming up tonight, of course, it's Friday night. That means we're under the lights for more high school football. West Bloomfield High School taking on Stony Creek, opening up OAA Red Division play in Rochester Hills. The kickoff for that game, 7 o'clock. Our pregame begins with This Week in Laker Football at 6 and the Laker pregame show with Dave Scott and I at 6:30. civiccentertv.com/Laker Sports for all the places that you can watch the game as well as watch it right there on that page. We'll have a live player up for you sometime this afternoon that you'll be able to watch today's edition of West Bloomfield Laker football. Again, kickoff at 7, pregame about 6 with This Week in Laker Football. And of course, we'll return next week, Monday, with new editions of the Megacast.